In 2020, there were 1,813 Texans waiting for a bed in a state mental hospital. According to the CDC, 1 in 5 Americans will experience a mental illness each year. According to NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, in 2020, 1 in 20 people suffered from a serious mental illness such as schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and major depressive disorder. 1 in 20. How many of you know 20 people? My grandmother was 1 in 20. I am 1 in 20. The DSM-5, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, currently the 5th edition, has nearly 300 mental illnesses and disorders listed, many of which can alter a person's thoughts, feelings, and behavior. Unfortunately, we will not have time to cover them all. Today I'm going to cover 3 different diagnoses. Psychotic disorders are severe mental disorders characterized by abnormal thinking and perception. Schizophrenia is the most common psychotic disorder. It interferes with the person's ability to think clearly, manage emotions accurately, perceive realities, and relate to others. This diagnosis can onset at any time during a person's life, but usually emerges in young people who are in their teens or early 20s. Schizophrenia is a long-term medical illness that can affect everybody differently. Some of the most prominent signs and symptoms are hallucinations, delusions, and disorganized speech. It is quite common for a person to experience any of these symptoms at the same time. Hallucinations are false or distorted sensory experiences that appear to be real perceptions. Because we have 5 senses, there are 5 different types of hallucinations. Auditory hallucinations are the false perception of sound. Visual hallucinations are the false perception of sight. Tactile hallucinations are the false perception of touch. Gustatory hallucinations are the false perception of taste. And olfactory hallucinations are the false perception of smell. Auditory hallucinations are the most common type of hallucinations, and hearing voices is the most common reported example. Delusions are false beliefs or misinterpretations of events that a person holds despite reason or actual evidence to the contrary. A person who is delusional will misinterpret the reality around them, which causes them to have odd or bizarre thoughts or beliefs about the world. A paranoid delusion is a false belief that a person is being harmed by a particular person or group, or that one's thoughts or actions are being controlled by an outside force. Grandiose delusions may involve a person thinking they are especially gifted, famous, or that they have done things that have not actually done, like being a part of a major event. Disorganized thinking causes illogical thought patterns. The disorganization most noticeable is the way the person talks and is known as disorganized speech. Disorganized speech is disjointed or rambling speech that is incoherent enough to substantially impair effective communication and routine daily activities. Because the person's thought process is disorganized, it can be difficult for them to express their thoughts clearly. A person with disorganized speech may make up words or speak in a way that is difficult to understand. The random speech is sometimes referred to as word salad because it's all mixed together and doesn't make sense. They may have difficulty staying on topic and unexpected or inappropriate response to communication. Mood disorders are characterized by a widespread disturbance in mood or emotional state. Major depressive disorder is one of the most common mental disorders in the United States, affecting approximately 14.8 million American adults each year. Some common signs and symptoms associated with major depressive disorder are behaviors usually associated with sad mood or grief, loss of interest in activities that one used to enjoy, lethargy, slow movements, or an apparent loss of energy. Difficulty concentrating, changes in sleep patterns or appetite, and expressions of worthlessness or inappropriate guilt. Major depressive disorder is not seasonal or situational. It is characterized by unrelenting sadness, a loss of motivation that impairs work, social, personal functioning, and even physical health. When left untreated, it can last an average of 9 months. Bipolar disorder is a chronic illness that causes unusual shifts in mood, energy, activity levels, and the ability to carry out tasks. As the name suggests, there are 2 primary types of mood episodes associated with bipolar disorder. One of the 2 poles is depression, the other is mania. Mania is a state characterized by abnormally elevated or irritated mood, arousal, euphoria, or overactivity. Some of the common signs and symptoms associated with mania are extended periods of elevated or unpleasant mood, decreased need for sleep with increased levels of energy and activity, increased speed and or volume of speech, being easily distracted, expressing or acting on grandiose notions, or inflated sense of self-esteem, impulsivity, and engaging in high-risk activities. The cycles of high and low moods may follow an irregular or unpredictable pattern where mood episodes can last from one day to months at a time. In some cases, the episodes can include symptoms of both depression and mania at the same time in what is called a mixed episode. A person may also experience psychotic symptoms. It is estimated that more than 10 million Americans have bipolar disorder, including me. Even with all the information that we have now, there is still stigma surrounding mental illness. Some of these stigmas include people with mental illness are dangerous and violent, people with mental illness are childlike, or that people with mental illness are just looking for attention. These stigmas lead to injustice, discrimination, and feelings of shame and guilt. Consequently, many people with mental illness may be reluctant to seek treatment because of fear or embarrassment. Although to some people, mental illness can be debilitating, there are others who can hold jobs, attend school, live independently, and contribute to their communities in positive ways. Either way, it's important to remember they are people first.